My name is Annie, and I'm going to be talking about exercise and physical activity. I'm sure at some point we've all heard the saying, take care of your body because it's the only one you've got. This saying tends to make students and peers and adults roll their eyes because we know how to take care of our bodies, right? Not exactly. Our bodies require a minimum of amount of exercise and activity for at least 3 to 5 days a week. So if we choose to brush off this quote and ignore the signs, then we are not only ignoring some intellectual advice, but we are also ignoring the intels our body's sending us. When exercise and physical activity becomes a part of our lives, then we will not only see visible improvements in our body, but internal aspects will be affected as well. Exercise and physical activity are essential to many aspects of the body and should be implemented in our daily routines. Physical activity and exercise are often common to be mistaken to be the same thing. I too thought this was the same thing up until I was taking my exercise science and personal fitness classes for my major. So while both physical activity and exercise both produce health benefits, they are quite different. And according to the World Health Organization, the definition of physical activity is any bodily movement produced by skeletal muscle that require energy expenditure. The article then goes on the next few paragraphs to say that the term physical activity should not be confused with exercise, which is a subcategory of physical activity that is planned, structured, and aims to improve or maintain one or more components of physical fitness. Even though exercise is a subcategory of physical activity and they have many similarities, they're not the same thing. So physical activity includes things we do in our daily lives. Whether someone is sweeping the floor, doing laundry, or even getting the mail, what they're doing is classified as physical activity. So if a person is not sitting, sleeping, or just plain resting their eyes, what they're doing is using their energy and muscles to get a job done. Though it is hard not to overestimate the amount of physical activity a person gets in their daily lives. So Bleck et al. And researchers found that parents are also consistently overestimating the healthfulness of their children's diets and physical activity levels. They also underestimate their children's weight, often failing to recognize when their child is overweight or obese. So if parents have difficulty in determining the amount of physical activity that their children are getting, then who's to say that we are not overestimating the amount that we get in our daily lives? So while physical activity includes day-to-day things, exercise involves a plan and a goal that said person plans to reach. So usually the goal that is set are used to create a healthier lifestyle. Usually they plan to lose or gain a certain amount of weight or muscle mass. So a few examples are weightlifting, CrossFit, running, and swimming. Well, these activities are usually repeated about 3 to 5 days a week. So researchers found that those who are exercising should be encouraged or motivated to participate in any activity of moderate intensity which she would enjoy. So by maintaining these exercises that people enjoy, it can help the body to function better, both mentally and physically. So for my visual object, I have a weight because I typically, when I exercise, I usually use some kind of weight or I go running. So I figured that would be a good way to incorporate it into the speech. So there are actually some psychological benefits when someone participates in physical activity and exercise. So while the changes in physical activity are more prevalent, the psychological advances can have more of an impact. So according to Bailey, Howes, and Gilbo 2018, there has been an emergence of literature on the effects of physical activity and healthy lifestyles, interventions, and people with mental illness, with links found between physical activity levels and various health outcomes such as depression scales, neurobiological changes, and quality of life and anxiety. So though physical activity is not a cure-all, people typically find some kind of solace in physical activity and getting active. So if our lifestyles do not include heavy drinking, smoking, and getting enough sleep, then we are just doing the bare minimum to take care of ourselves. And while it's all good and all that we're not actively doing these things, it doesn't mean we're living a healthy lifestyle. So nutrition, physical activity, and exercise all play crucial roles in living a long, healthy life. So even if one of these imperatives is ignored, it can cause great destruction to the body, both internally and externally. So parents and peers both have a significant impact on those around them. So if someone surrounds themselves with people who are lazy, they're not going to really be motivated to engage in any sort of physical activity or exercise. So according to Lee and Lee, parents support their children's physical activity by participating in physical activity and encouraging, arranging, and transporting their children to exercise classes. So if parents aren't engaging in physical activity and exercise, how can they expect their children to have any interest in it? So the common misconception about exercise and physical activity is that it is required to be strenuous and nonstop. So I'm sure we've all heard the commercial where the boy calls his grandmother in the other room and it's like asks her for a grape soda. So in the beginning you hear the speaker say, getting kids to walk an extra 35 minutes a day can save them the pain of thinning bones in the future. So by just taking a short walk or going on a jog, people can create themselves a healthier lifestyle. So it doesn't take like 30-minute long runs at super fast pace and heavy weightlifting to improve just small aspects of our daily lives. Small actions can have considerable impacts. So in reality, by choosing to exercise about 30 minutes a day, 2 to 3 days a week, a person can reduce numerous health risks. So in a study to identify health perceptions, Kim and Lee state that people are more susceptible to certain diseases associated with physical inactivity, such as obesity, cardiovascular diseases, and diabetes. By including physical activity and exercise into a daily routine, the probability of obtaining these diseases and health risks reduces tremendously. So as I wrap up this speech, I want to remind you that physical activity is more important in our everyday lives than most people are led to believe. There are many misconceptions about physical activity and exercise that people do not realize, such as the difference between the two and that they do not have to be strenuous and complicated. Both exercise and physical activity produce mental and health benefits, physical health benefits that some people may not even realize. So if you just take 30 minutes a day for about 3 to 5 days a week, you can see a massive change in your mental and physical health. So I challenge you all to take a step back and look at your everyday life. Do you make time for physical activity and exercise? If not, consider the significant advantages of exercise and physical activity. Thank you.